right, it's time to get into the Hellraiser review. This will be non-spoilery, so trust me, you don't have to worry about it. I am probably the biggest Hellraiser fan you personally know because I legitimately enjoy Hellraiser 1 through 7. 100%. 8 and 9 and 10 had some potential. But now we're at 11. The reinvention, the reimagining. It's on Hulu right now. What did I think about Hellraiser? Let's get into it. Yeah, I'll straight up just let you know, I loved this movie. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. I was nervous. I do not like these reboots. I do not like these requels. I do not like these reimaginings that we've been getting month after month after month. Oh my goodness, I'm so over it. But Hellraiser's a franchise that is very important to me, and Doug Bradley makes that franchise, and so does Clive Barker. So what were they going to do without Doug Bradley? I was really nervous. I thought they did a great job. So we get introduced to this dude. He's using the lament configuration, or we can call it, I guess, just the box now, because they really elaborate on, let's just say, the lore of the lament configuration. This dude is using it for a purpose, and it winds up in the hands of this character named Riley, who winds up being our main character. Now, the box itself, the lament configuration, is used masterfully in here. And in other Hellraiser movies, we always go, how did we get from that to that? In this one, they make sure that we know how this works as a puzzle. So Riley is the main character, and I really like her in this movie. She's a struggling addict in recovery, but she's struggling with that, right? So she's dealing with addiction, and that's one of the things about the Hellraiser films is this idea of addiction sensation and how it can never be enough. You know what I'm saying? You have to keep pushing it further. She really emotionally brings this movie to a core, but honestly, out of all the human characters, aside from the bad guy, or I won't call him the bad guy, but he's kind of thrown in there. This dude is awesome. He plays like this corporate guy, Vought, or something like that. And then Riley's really cool. All the other human characters, I honestly could give a shit about them in this movie. They're okay. They're there to do what they do. Her brother, her brother's boyfriend, they're just there to get got, y'all. Like, I mean, that's not a spoiler. You know that most of the cast is going to get got in one of these kind of movies. But when they do get got, it is awesome. Okay? So, honestly, character-wise, don't care about any character except for the corporate guy and the main character. But I loved them. But I am used to these kind of movies where everybody's just kind of fodder. Do you know what I'm saying? They're like, hurry, gonna get like into one of these kind of movies and get like super deep into like character development? Come on, y'all. Come on. That being said, this movie would live or die on Jamie Clayton's performance as the priest, aka Pinhead. She fucking delivers, man. Doug Bradley's had a couple replacements already. None of them work out, in my opinion. Oh my God, she is awesome. Plus the cinematography in this, the style of this movie, the pace of it, it's slow, it's deliberate, it's dark, and it's fantastically horrific. Jamie Clayton as Pinhead, 100%, I'm down for it. I believe it. I am there. My favorite bit, who do you pray for? Or was it, what do you pray for? Yes, what do you pray for? What do you pray for? Oh my God. The voice was there. The intensity was there. The mystery was there. The seductiveness was there, because there's always something seductive about the Cenobites, and that's important. Let's get to these other Cenobites. Oh my goodness. So back in the day, we just called her lead female Cenobite, but they do an interpretation of the other Cenobites too. So you don't just have Pinhead, you have her, the throat vagina one, right? Oh my goodness, creepy, and it works. And notice they're tying in the pearl-ended pins, right? That is from the novella, from the short story. We even have the Chatterer in this one. And I'll be honest, I have some strong feelings about what they did to Chatterer in there. However, we have other Cenobites that are incredibly creepy to me. There's one that has like exposed lungs that has this like crazy wheezing sound that is so freaking nuts. And then this dude that I think they call Mask, where there's no face there, just skin. Oh my goodness, the Cenobites look so amazing. This movie really blew me away. I could not believe it. My expectations were low because I kept them in check, right? I watched the trailer and I was like, we'll see. It's not a redo of Hellraiser. It doesn't tell the story of Frank. It doesn't do that. It doesn't do that at all. It's doing its own story. And its story is not as interesting as the original. And its characters overall, outside of the Cenobites, are not as interesting. There are two really good characters in this new Hellraiser movie, outside of the Cenobites. In the original, everybody's a great character. Even Kirsty's doofy beau or wannabe boyfriend or whatever. Even that doofus is like at least charming in some kind of way. But I followed along. I was into it. I knew why some of these other characters were there. They're just bodies. And Hellraiser has an element of body horror to it. And so I think that's cool about these movies is that we know they're just bodies to be rent asunder. But at the same time, then when we see it, we're like, and I really like this movie. I was very surprised. Jamie Clayton steals the show. Her Pinhead is flawless. Flawless. And in the original novella, which I love, The Hellbound Heart by Clive Barker, the priest, Pinhead, is described as a mixture of female and male, right? So a lot of people are they have problems that a woman is playing Pinhead now. However, what they do with that is the same thing they did with Doug Bradley. They're not the Cenobites aren't wearing the leather, the S&M leather or nothing, but like this, their skin themselves are their suits, and it's so gnarly. Like, I freaking love it. What I was trying to say is what they did with the voice is kind of a better version of what they did with, say, Desire in the Sandman Netflix show, which I thought was amazing. I love Desire's voice there. I love Desire's voice in the Audible, right? But I say that because it's a mixture of like masculine and feminine vocal traits. They do that with Jamie Clayton's Pinhead, and it sounds amazing. Their pain, our blood. Like, it works so well. You can't do Pinhead mimicking Doug Bradley. You got to do it your own way. They did it their own way here. I loved it. Story is cool. What I loved the most about it is it does still deal with obsession. They change certain elements of the mythology that some people could go, that totally undercuts the meaning of the lament configuration. I would argue that it actually widens the meaning of the lament configuration. What the box represents, what the purpose of the box is, how that kind of changes or alters, or just, and I would say not changes or alters, but enhances the mythos of Hellraiser is phenomenal to me. Like, I love it. In fact, if they would have taken this direction earlier, we wouldn't have had to deal with so many sequels that, even though I love the majority of them, not the last part of them, but they're all movies that are not Hellraiser movies, that are just Hellraiser shoved into it, right? And you feel that. We know that. Inferno, Deader, Hellseeker. I love those movies, but like, those aren't Hellraiser movies. They're just kind of put in there, right? And I'm down for that. This is the first one outside of 3, actually outside of 4, because 4 does a lot too, to elevate the mythos of the box, of the lament configuration, and what all that entails. I loved that. It works as a reboot or reimagining, reinvention, if you will, but it also works as the next Hellraiser film. It's just the next Hellraiser film, y'all. In my head, canon, it all exists together. I think Jeremy John said that, right? I'll say the same thing. It all exists together. I really liked this movie. All in all, I'm going to give Hellraiser 2022 4.5 ya digs. Rockin Robbie says, check it out.